Happy Valentine's Day, bro.
Happy Valentine's Day.
So
something on Valentine's Day.
Are we doing a 1 week dating series?
We're gonna do a 1 week talk on relationships.
Thank God, because we have way too many kids dating.
We're gonna throw a party. Should we throw that red party that you guys do last year? Or was that whack? Was that cool or whack?
That was fun.
Let's do it.
It was really fun. I can't remember what we did though. I wasn't because I was at work, so all the college students, they were the ones putting it all together.
But I was thinking about turning the closet, building like a square wall, like not a wall, but like someone put something up, and making it all red for a photo room.
That would be sick. Do we have a light for that?
We could borrow the lights from the video room.
Or where are those lights at
those
on the stage?
Those don't look good in picture, or they don't look good. I actually tried to use them for my sermon video the other day. They do not work very well because they don't have dimmers.
Right.
But we could borrow John's. Our reel that we just posted of Get Yourself to Church is, dude, reels like all of a sudden out of nowhere just start going. Yeah. And you actually get followers from them, which is wild.
How old were you when you had your first girlfriend? Like real girlfriend?
Alexis was my first real girlfriend.
Really? Like obviously you talked to girls before.
Yeah, there was one girl in high school that I talked to. Well, there's two girls in high school I talked to. Yeah, and then there was, you want to hear a funny story? There was one girl, I did not talk to this girl. There's one, so I'm a teacher's kid. My mom was a teacher until my dad got the job he has now, and then she started staying at home. But growing up, my mom was a teacher, and we had a PE teacher, and her daughter and me were the same age. Yeah. And so her daughter and I would play after school, but she was like really actually mean. And like I was a pretty sheltered kid at this point. I was pretty sheltered, honestly, a lot of my life, but
not sheltered.
It's
not. You weren't like
I
a
was
homeschool kid. That
no, not like that. But my parents were like very strict on me. Like,
absolutely.
If I had a B, I was grounded. Like I'm talking in high school. If I had a B, I was grounded.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So, anyways, but she wasn't. She was the opposite of that. She was very aggressive.
Right.
And she slammed me in a locker. And
wait, how old were you?
This was like third grade. Slammed me in a locker. And she kissed me on the lips.
Yeah.
And it felt like assault. But really? That was my first kiss.
That was your first kiss? Yeah. That's so funny. I made the awesome decision of having my first, like, I don't want to say serious girlfriend because I don't even know what that really means, especially when I was in high school. But like, you know, that first girl that you really like that you are like down with. It's like, let's go. I really like this girl. Texting her every morning, like all that stuff. I decided to do that. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was just like the first girlfriend that you actually like text because you're old enough because you actually have a phone.
Right.
You're not having to sneak on your parents' computer and use AOL Messenger.
And I've been whipping my Trailblazer around for a couple of years, so like I knew the streets. Like I could take her around, you know. And so the first girl, like actually like. It's really the first girl you take on a date, like start taking on dates. That's when it's your first serious girlfriend, is when you actually go through all the work to like take her out.
First girl I took on a date friend zoned me.
Really? That sucks. There's nothing worse than that. But I made the great decision of doing that in, I think, March. We started dating March of my senior year. Like, why did no one come up to me and say, hey, you're graduating in 2 months? Because, dude, I went all in for this girl, like, in March of my senior year. I went my whole high school life without a girlfriend. Obviously talked to girls, but I just, honestly, I loved baseball too much to even care about girls.
That was my thing. That's the main reason I didn't have, like, a real girlfriend.
Exactly. And but I decided to start dating her in March. And then it got to May, and I was going to junior college like 3 hours this way. She was going to school this way, and it was like we just looked at each other like it was like a mutual like. I don't even know if we really had a moment where we broke up, but it was like, okay, that's it.
It just doesn't make sense.
No, it's probably the dumbest thing, and I was heartbroken, dude.
The worst is when you see two of your friends go to the same college for each other. And they both really don't want to go to that college, but one of them really wants to, and the other one decides to go because of their relationship.
Right.
And then they end up breaking up, which reminds me of The Hills, which I binge watched last night, because Lauren gets a chance to go to Paris for an internship with Vogue, which is like the top.
Tell them what The Hills.
I will when I finish this. It's like the top fashion internship you can have, and she's 20 years old.
Yeah.
And she turns it down to move in with her boyfriend, Jason, I believe, in a beach house in Malibu, and they break up before the summer's over.
Right.
So funny. The Vogue lady looks at her and goes, "You will always be known as the woman that said no to Paris."
Yeah, I know. Dude.
But The Hills is. Do you have something? Go.
I was just gonna say because you brought up like those going to college for each other and stuff. Well, I remember being a freshman and because we broke up that summer before we went to college, and I was like devastated for the first like month of college, and like all of the freshman class that were with me, there's probably like, I don't know, 20 of us. Mm-hmm. I would say like half of them like had girlfriends still from high school. And I remember the sophomores always saying stuff to them. And I was like in the middle of it because I had actually made the decision to not have a girlfriend, but I was still sad about it. And I was looking at all the freshmen like, see, they're still dating their girlfriends long distance. Like we could have done it. And I was devastated by that. But the sophomores would be like, "Oh, trust me, give it a month or two, you won't be dating." Because they had dated girls from high school their freshman year, and they knew how it ends up. And I remember this moment of being in the locker room. All the freshmen were like, with girlfriends, were like clapping back at them, like, no shot. Me and this girl have been dating since we were in like seventh grade. I think, dude, at the end of the first semester, nobody had a high school girlfriend anymore, which is so funny to me.
It is.
It's so funny how we always die for some, and then we go to college and it's over.
Right.
But The Hills
is it was like, I want to say it started about the same time Keeping Up with the Kardashians did, because didn't Keeping Up with the Kardashians start around 2005? I want to say it was like one of the first wave of like reality TV shows.
This was the Jersey Shore era.
Yeah, this is before that.
Right.
I think The Hills was part of like one of the first like 5 shows that like
Jersey
really.
Shore was mid 2000s though.
No, I know, but I think this was a little bit earlier.
It had to have been, but this is like, I'm just talking about that period.
Yeah. Like, this was kind of the launch of like TV as we know.
So a lot of people don't know what The Hills probably is, but
no.
they have a visual what the Jersey Shore is.
Right.
And so that's what it is basically.
It's essentially 2 girls and their friends and their stories. They both went to college and in LA. But yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch MTV. That's like the stuff that I meant like sheltered by. Like I wasn't allowed to watch Top Gun. Like there's stuff like that my like.
Come on, Nav.
Yeah, like
Maverick.
There was stuff like that. It had a sex scene, so there was stuff like that I was sheltered from. But so last night, because I was like, I'm an adult now. No, I'm just kidding. There just really wasn't anything else to watch, and I was feeding Leo on the couch.
Right.
And I saw that, and I was like, people used to talk about that. I never got to watch it. Let me just watch it. It looks like it was filmed on an iPhone.
Yeah.
The transitions and the editing are brutal.
Yeah.
But I got sucked in, and I watched it till 1:30 a.m. Leo was asleep for like an hour, and I was still watching it.
I definitely wasn't allowed to watch those, but I was just a bad kid, so I did anyways. But I had to do, like, it was so much effort to watch one of those shows for me, because this was back when, like, you can't just stream something on your phone or anything. You have the actual remote and it's a box TV or whatever, so I have it on. I'll never forget.
And
MTV.
You couldn't even record yet.
MTV was 39 and Spike was 38, which is also a bad TV channel.
Yeah, MTV was 32 and Spike was 31 for me.
And then there was another above it was a bad
VH1.
channel too. So I'm sitting there. Yeah, so I had to have it on. I always did ESPN, which was 25. I would put it on ESPN, put it back to MTV, have my finger on the back button, aim at the TV, because you had to aim at the TV back then. It wasn't like, it didn't pick this thing up. Like, you had to aim it at the box, bro. And just watch the door. I'd be watching Jersey Shore like this. And then anytime I heard the door open or like my mom coming in or something, back. Oh, yeah, I'm watching soccer. You never watch soccer.
Watching tennis. That is so real, bro.
It was more effort to watch it.
I forgot about that.
You couldn't even enjoy the show. You were so worried about what you were watching. But
I forgot about that.
That was my life.
Hopefully mom and dad aren't watching this.
No, Mom, I'm sorry. I 100% did that all the time.
Yeah, I did that all the time too.
So stupid. I don't think they were that bad. I don't think I was actually like,
well, that's what I was watching The Hills last night. Like, being an adult now, it was like, oh, this isn't that bad.
It's
But
way better than some Netflix shows now, bro.
yeah, I mean, there's way worse stuff on TV now. But I will say there's like little references and little things, and like they're always staying at their boyfriend or girlfriend's place, like so. So there's stuff in it that like I could see my parents wanting a junior high kid not to watch and think, oh, because you watch it and you're like, especially at a young age, not so much now. Like I was actually like laughing at some of them now, but at a young age, I probably would have watched it and gone, these people are so cool,
Right.
wearing their Ed Hardy and their. Dude, some of them. Okay, so the funniest part about this too is that they're in fashion school, and these guys are like hip guys, dude.
Yeah.
And the outfits that they're wearing are so bad.
You know what I was thinking about the other day? Because it's weird. I saw a clip on TikTok of Jersey Shore, and the caption was like, "Gotta be the greatest reality show ever," and it was just like a big fight at a bar or something, and it was pretty funny. But it had me thinking about Jersey Shore. You know, looking back, one of the things that I didn't notice back then because I was just young and I didn't really understand, why were they working at a t-shirt shop like one day a week or something?
I don't know. I've never watched. Never watched.
So
it.
in that show, right, they take these groups of guys and girls, like all the guys like Ronnie, Vinny, Pauly D, and then Jen, Snooki, and the girls. They all go to this house every summer, and it's just like they basically just go to the bar every night and party. And the guys get with girls and bring them over and all that, and it creates drama and stuff. So the idea is that they take these people, they put them in this house, they pay for their summer, like they're obviously getting paid for something.
Right.
But then one day a week, I don't know if they did it because it was just kind of funny to see them having to get up early. One day a week, they have to go wake up, and they have shifts at this beach.
It was probably their community service.
Right. It was just so silly that like, why are we forcing these people once a week to get up and go work one day a
That's
week
pretty funny.
when they're on national TV on MTV?
Yeah.
Like it was so funny.
The Hills show, they actually have like real jobs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, like they're both doing internships basically, but they're in college and they're like legit.
Honestly,
internships.
you probably didn't get paid that much for TV shows like that back then.
No, that's what I was thinking. So, and then I got curious because like, okay, do you think these people like actually end up, because they're on the beginning edge of reality TV. So like, I figured they maybe are famous or maybe are not. So you actually look them up.
Right.
Some of the Lauren girl has 5.5 million followers and like 4 businesses. She is famous.
She took advantage.
The Heidi girl has like 800,000 followers, but she's actually like pretty weird. But then some of the people like didn't really get famous at all. So one thing that was interesting is when I searched because I was trying to find out their last names, I searched the Heidi girl or whatever. She comes up. It said her net worth is like. It said at one point a few years ago her net worth was $50,000, and now it's $300,000.
Wow.
Which like, if my net worth was $300,000 as a 26-year-old pastor, that would be really good.
Right.
It's not anywhere near that. But when you're living in LA and a reality TV star, $300,000 is not
get you very far.
Doesn't even get you an
you have a
apartment.
good life for sure.
Yeah, but like, bro, like, watch $1 Million Listing. A house to remodel that's 500 square foot is $1 million there.
100%. Like the rent for a one bed, it is not. You are doing super well if you're living on your own.
Yeah.
Like you are making close to you're making at least 6 figures if you're living on your own.
Right. It's the same thing with New York. I had a buddy that lived in New York, and he worked as a model. He worked as a model. He also worked as a doorman for like Saint Laurent and Gucci, and then he worked as a butler for this person right outside the city. So he would wake up at 5 a.m., get on the subway, go to like castings, then get on the train, go be a doorman, then get on the train, go be a butler. He would leave from being a butler at 2 a.m., drive the train back, get home around 2:30, and then he would fall asleep, wake up at 5 a.m. and do it all over again. And that was he had to do that to pay his rent, and he had 4 roommates.
Yeah.
Living in a 1-bedroom apartment.
That is wild. Yeah, like you're almost looked upon as like you're kind of dumb if you don't have roommates, or like there's no other way to live really.
Yeah, I mean,
you have to have other people living with you to help with rent there. Yeah. It's unreal.
It really is.
I was looking. I got on Zillow because I just like looking at houses and stuff on Zillow. It's a weird hobby, but I went to LA in the Valley and was looking at I just wanted to see what you could get. And there's a square footage house smaller than yours, but it's like Right. It's like really close to the Hollywood sign. It's like in one of the nicest areas, and it
In the
was
Bird Streets.
yeah. It was a less square footage than your house, one less bedroom, and was almost $1 million.
Dude, it will blow your mind because $1 Million Listing is one of my favorite shows,
Yeah.
and it blows your mind on there.
Something I do want to talk about though is because we were talking about like you were talking about how you're sheltered or whatever, but our parents did work hard to like in my life too, like guard our eyes, I guess, from things.
For sure.
And it's funny because I'm thinking about it now after this, talking about the hills and stuff. Like it wasn't even that bad back then compared to what it is now. I had a friend text me. I threw on my Instagram like, what's the best show on Netflix right now, and I had some people reach out or through my Instagram and like tell me some shows. It's funny because like all of them are iCarly, which is I don't need to pay for Netflix if I'm watching a show that I watched growing up. Like it just doesn't make sense that that's the most popular show right now.
I didn't even know iCarly was.
They put it on like last week, and so it's like a big deal that it's on. Like everyone's posting clips of it and saying how much they love the show. And I was like, have you guys thought that you're paying like $20 a month to watch shows that like came out years ago?
Drake and Josh was my vibe.
I loved it. I love that show. But anyways, everyone kept saying about the show Bridgerton. I guess it takes place like in Europe back in the day, like in the early 1900s is what it seems like, or I don't know exactly when the time was, but like I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Everyone keeps saying watch the show Bridgerton, and the first scene is a sex scene. I immediately turned it off, and I don't want to sound like I'm the holiest person ever, and like, but at the same time, like I do love Jesus, and like it matters what you watch, and I literally turned it off. I made decisions like, why would I put myself in this situation? Especially as a dude, a single guy living by myself in an apartment. I don't need to be watching that. Someone who's probably, I've struggled with lust in the past and other things, which isn't important right now, but still, like, why would I continue to watch that? Like, that was enough for me.
It is wild how much of the new stuff has nudity in it.
And it was like a real sex scene too.
Yeah, like
it was porn.
I mean, literally. I mean, like you look at bro. I remember because we don't have Netflix anymore, but when we had it, like I think the last month we had it, that movie was it. What it was like a number or something maybe. I don't remember the name of it, but it was like the #1 movie overall. So Lex and I turned it on thinking, oh, this is the #1 movie overall, whatever. It was like literally. Basically just porn. Like it was like
oh, but the storyline. Don't focus on the storyline, the plot. It's like no, that's just enough for me. I don't need to watch that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think we need more Christians caring about that stuff because these are everyone watching these are like pastors and like Christian friends, and it's like guys.
Yeah, well, I mean, and like, so are you gonna tell your teenager, hey, watch this with me? Just focus on the storyline. Like that doesn't make sense.
It's like, bro, I would never say that to a teenager.
Yeah.
I don't know. We just need more people that care about that. Because I was the kid growing up in high school that I thought it was stupid that I couldn't watch MTV.
There's a lot I was saved from because I was naive. Because my parents did a really good job. Like honestly,
right.
I mean, the reason I started watching porn was because my parents had. I shouldn't say because. One of the reasons I would have watched porn probably sooner,
right,
if I had different parents, but. My parents really did protect me from things like that, and they could have maybe done a couple things different, like talk to me more about it so I understood it more.
Right.
But in 8th grade, a kid at the table started talking about it. I had never heard of it, so I didn't even know what it was. So honestly, this is probably my parents probably could have talked to me about what stuff like that was, so I would have known.
Right.
But so I Googled it and tried to figure out what it was, and then got hooked.
Yeah,
but
that's what
I mean, I didn't even know that was a thing until 8th grade.
Yeah.
So obviously
the iPhone did not help.
No.
That's the worst part about.
And obviously my parents could have told me, "Hey, this is something." But also,
I do wish someone would have told me porn back then was like so bad that no one even talked about it.
Yeah, but also think about our parents, like our parents' generation, like
they probably didn't even know.
I'm not saying my dad never looked at a magazine or anything. I don't know, honestly.
Right.
But like. I don't think my dad or my mom really fully understood the extent of like how easy it was. Yeah, like
Or the effects of it yet.
I think we have like a much bigger advantage because we understand how easy it is to access, how easy it is to get hooked. I don't think our parents really understood that, so I don't think it's really their fault.
Right. I just like because obviously, I don't know. Because I guarantee you, if there's a teenager listening to this right now and they heard my story about the Bridgerton first sex scene, turn it off, and they're like, it's not that deep. It's like, no, it kind of is that deep.
Well, there's probably somebody watching this right now that because we said that, eventually will remember that and go look at it and watch it because it's an easy way to basically watch porn without your parents and being able to look at your search history.
And like...
You only heard a bomb line one time that I preached?
Yeah.
I said, we need men of integrity, not men that delete their search history.
Savage, bro. Put that on a t-shirt. Happy Valentine's Day. It's just funny because I do wish, like, let's just say before the first time I ever watched porn, like someone told me like the effects of what this thing is going to be, or like
how much it was going to cost,
how much this was going to cost. Like, obviously, if someone would have told me that and laid that out for me, I would have never done it ever. Yeah. And I didn't have anybody to tell me, why porn was bad, or because honestly, I watched porn a lot. Because I didn't want to have sex and get someone pregnant. Yeah. So I thought it was a good thing.
Yeah. But
it hurts you.
Sin keeps you longer than you want to stay, costs you more than you want to pay.
Right.
And takes more than you want to. I don't remember. But that's a really good quote.
And I guarantee you there's multiple teenagers, people in Life High that struggle with pornography.
Yeah, but isn't it wild? Like, because I feel like we try to talk to some teens about it, and I feel like nobody's really that open. I don't know how we do a better job of getting people to open up about that.
I think that's
because on a Wednesday night, so we had 87 teenagers here this last Wednesday night. Out of those 87, just statistically speaking, probably half the room at least has watched porn the last week.
In the past week or month, yeah. I mean, churches and preachers and people with influence definitely need to talk about it more.
Yeah, I liked Mike Todd's sermon on it.
Yeah, me too.
You know who else just preached a really good sermon on it? Was Whit George from Church on the Move. Mm-hmm. He talked about his story. And, bro, he got, like, really vulnerable. He talked about driving up to the church because it was the only place he had access to a computer alone, and say he was going to work at, like, 10 p.m. to go watch porn.
Yeah.
But he gets, like, really vulnerable about it. And he does a good job breaking it down, too. But, yeah, I don't know. I mean, and we had a parent DM us not that long ago and say that we shouldn't talk about porn in youth ministry because it brings to light something that doesn't need to be brought to light and makes it more likely that somebody will watch it. And I would just say, like, for me, it was the opposite. It happened in my life because nobody talked about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, I think it's something that we need to talk about and be real that, this thing, it sucks. It drains life out of you.
Can I say something real quick about that?
Yeah.
Just logically, pornography is an issue. It's an issue. It keeps you in chains, keeps you in bondage, just like anxiety and depression. We talk about anxiety and depression and address that more in youth ministry than we do any other thing because it affects a lot of kids. Mm-hmm. If you had a child who was struggling with anxiety and depression, you would want them to speak about it. You want to speak to them about it. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Porn is just another issue. It's another sin issue. If they were lying, if they were stealing, if they're watching porn, you want to speak into that portion of their life. You want them to be able to talk to you about it. The less you talk about porn, the less they're going to talk about porn.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I don't know. That's what I would say.
Well, porn is so different, too, because porn
it's the only sin that hurts you.
It hurts you. And it just affects, like, because I remember thinking, once I get married, this will just go away. And it doesn't go away, for one. Mm-hmm. And for two, it brings so much baggage into, any future if you're like, I'm not getting married, I'm in high school. Okay, whatever. But, any future relationship.
Right.
Especially any relationship that gets intimate. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah. Relationships are interesting.
You're gonna say something before that, and I interrupted you.
I was just gonna talk about the baggage it brings.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But Bro, people are too casual with like relationships though. Like
That's a good way to put it. That's something that people always ask me why I don't go on dates. Like even my coworkers are like, I can set you up. I guess I just take it way more serious than that. And it could be because I'm older. But
Yeah.
I value like if I'm not gonna waste anybody's time
Right.
at this point.
I mean, there's a balance. Like I think go on dates. That's cool. But like, don't go on dates set up by a person that has character that you wouldn't want.
Like, if I'm being honest, like I love ministry too much that if you're not involved in ministry, I'm already uninterested.
Yeah. I mean, so go on smart dates. But yeah, I mean, so the reason we're going to do a relationship message this week is because my memory popped up from our relationship series last year, which was actually, I forgot how good of a series it was. Like, it was actually one of the best series I think we've done in my life.
I listened to the Q&A.
Yeah, the
I was
very
still in OKC.
Honestly, the very first message of that series, in my opinion, is one of the best messages I've ever preached. Like, information-wise, I didn't maybe deliver it the best, but like information-wise, I felt like God gave me a really, really good picture on relationships and a really good illustration. But yeah, one of the things I talked about in there, one of the points is are you going to be a public park or a guarded palace? Mm-hmm. And public park, anybody gets access to it. We went to London. I went to London with my family. And you go to London, and there's Buckingham Palace, and then there's the biggest public park in London right across the street. And me and my family could walk in the public park. Like, we could go over there. We could do whatever we want. There's plenty of people. I mean, there was people sleeping over there. I'm sure there's been people killed in there. I'm sure there's been people that have slept together in there.
Right.
Like, let's just be real.
Yeah.
You go into like you can't get into that guarded palace.
No.
That thing has.
If you go into that palace,
you're going to prison
without without permission.
Yeah.
You might die.
And so I just think people should be more like guarded palaces and like have high standards, set higher standards.
Especially in high school, man. Like,
in high school, I will say this from an observation standpoint from being a youth pastor, most people in just 1 year that I have seen that are in relationships, they're generally the same people over and over again. Like, you have your crowd that doesn't really date, then you have your crowd that dates. The ones that are dating, it feels like they always have to be dating someone. And it feels like, honestly, that they're either sad or they're happy based on if someone's in their life.
Right.
And it always starts off good. Mm-hmm. And it always ends like, and so it shows me that a lot of people don't have high standards in dating. They just want to date so that they can feel secure.
Right.
And if that's where you're getting your security from, hey, boo-boo, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. And it never lasts more than a month, it seems like. So.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, there are exceptions. I'm not saying there's not exceptions. There are people that date in high school and get married. And there's not – that is one of the reasons that we took away the you can't date and serve. Like, I think high schoolers should learn how to date. I think that there's nothing wrong with dating. I think that I would never say that you can't find love in high school. That's not the point. I'm just saying in high school you do need to be very guarded. Right. And you do need to be very cautious. And you probably need somebody that can speak into your relationship.
Yeah. And if you don't know, the Bible does talk about relationships quite a bit, actually, in the New Testament. And Paul does say, I guess what I'm saying is if a teenager is listening to this, don't think that dating somebody is making your life with Jesus going to be a lot easier. And, like, you're going to learn how to, like, love and be loved and all that. Paul actually says it's going to get way harder, and he actually recommends to people that if you don't absolutely need to have sex in your life, then don't get married.
Pretty much,
because it just gets in the way of your relationship with Jesus even more, and there's more distraction.
It's just another obstacle. So marriage is a great like in Christianity, marriage is the goal if you're going to be in a relationship. Yeah. So that's why I keep saying marriage. I know that I'm talking to high schoolers, but so marriage is this mirror that will expose everything in you that's flawed and everything that you need to correct. And so that's how marriage works. And so every marriage has a good part of it in that it will build your character, but it also takes time. It takes away from, I can't travel the entire city. I can't hang out with high schoolers 24/7.
Right.
If I hang out with high schoolers 24/7, I'm gonna not have the best marriage.
Right.
And so it takes away a little bit from the ministry I'm able to do.
Right.
But then it also becomes another ministry because marriage and family is a ministry as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
And God is a family God. God blesses generations. God blesses families. So God loves marriage. God loves family. It's the foundation of how His kingdom works.
Right.
But yes, there is something to be said for it's easier to you have more control of your schedule.
I feel like some teenagers have this idea of like a relationship is a good opportunity to like learn how to love somebody. It's like and like somehow find that excuse of like, I don't know, it's weird. I feel like a lot of teenagers think that God wants them to date someone because then they can really express how they can really love people. And I just think that's a little silly.
Well, and you know, like, dating in high school is good, I think, because I didn't date in high school. And so I didn't have mentors that could help me learn how to date, really.
Right.
So there was a lot of things that it was challenging. And fortunately, God did everything with Lex and I, so I didn't have to worry about that. But I did have challenges of, do I date, do I not? I had a lot of questions, a lot of insecurities around that.
Right.
I think dating in high school is good if you're really, really guarded. And if you give someone permission to speak into that relationship. And I mean, like, we've had a time here where we had to flat out tell somebody to break up with someone.
Right.
And that's hard. And I'm sure we seem like bad guys for a second.
Right.
But if you do it that way, you'll still make mistakes and everything like that, but you're going to come out of a lot better if you than some of our teenagers that just have a different boyfriend or girlfriend every couple months to feel more secure and feel more happy.
Yeah.
And then they're sad because they break up with them, and then they've got to go find happiness in another boy or girl.
Yeah.
And
I think also know your situation too, like, because you might miss this if you don't really think about it and realize it. Because one, I want to be sensitive to this because some people don't have the best family life, and two, like, you might not realize how much help you actually need. If your parents don't have a good marriage, or you haven't seen what a good marriage is. For example, like, if you are, and this isn't your fault, but if you come from a family who you've seen a lot of marriages or divorces or cheating or anything super serious like that, and you know it's probably not the healthiest thing, you might need a little more help than someone else to really understand what God meant marriage to be, what God wants dating to look like, and all those things.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that's a lot of my situation is I want to know exactly, I want to talk to people who've done it right. I want to learn more about what it's supposed to look like as a Christian, and then really do this thing the right way.
That's a good point.
So I think it depends. If you have great parents who have a great marriage and you've learned from that, then you know already. And yeah, there's always room to improve, but just know your situation and understand, like, hey, maybe I should take a season or two to really understand what it looks like and what it should. Just think about it. You notice it whenever a teenager doesn't have the best parents, and then they settle for some person, and we're like, don't settle for something you don't deserve, or but they don't.
I'll be honest. There's only one relationship with air quotes in our youth group that I feel confident about right now.
Yeah.
That I feel like is God honoring, and I'm not saying others aren't.
Yeah.
I'm not throwing shade at people.
Right.
I'm just saying there's one I feel confident where, in the biblical terms, they're equally yoked.
Right.
But here, like,
and you don't have to test drive. You don't have to test drive, man. Can we stop saying that?
So here's the thing: if you're not a whole, I don't want to say whole, because we can't give this illusion to some people of like, well, you better be.
Like, you never make it. You're never really whole.
Yeah, you're never, like, there is this, I had a teenager this past week say, I'm just young and I don't know how to be an adult. You never know how to be an adult. You never know how to be a husband.
Right.
You never know how to be a father. You step into it and you trust God step by step to show you how to do it. But with that being said, in high school, if you don't know who you are yet, like if you don't know the foundation of who you are, like for me, I know that I'm a Jesus follower that is here to compel others with the beauty of Jesus.
Yeah.
I know that. Mm-hmm. I get off of that sometimes. I make mistakes sometimes.
Right.
I'm not a perfect human. But at the core of my life, I know that that is why I'm here.
Right.
So I can step into a relationship because I know that I'm here to compel others with the beauty of Jesus. So I need somebody else that represents the beauty of Jesus.
Right.
Not physically, but spiritually. Mm-hmm. And so because I know who I am, I'm able to get into a relationship that honors God. If I don't know who I am, I look for who I am in other people, and then I get used. Yeah. And that's not good.
Absolutely. So, if you don't know who you are, you're going to become whatever he or she says you are, who 100%. Or she treats you like. That's who you're going to be. 100%. And that's not what God wants for your life at all.
And here's another point is every relationship that you're in, even when you find the perfect person, there are going to be moments within that relationship where you are going to where you're not going to feel like staying. Let's put it that way, because we're all human. So what I've learned, and this is something we preached last year too, what I've learned is that if you will follow the Holy Spirit into every big decision of your life, meaning that you don't make a pivotal decision in your life, which relationships we're tying our heart to somebody else, that would be considered pivotal.
Right.
If you don't make any pivotal decision in your life without first seeking the Holy Spirit, you will be a lot better off, because then the Holy Spirit is our helper. And when we don't feel like staying, we're able to honor God better, because the Holy Spirit who called us into something can sustain us through something and can help us and comfort us and keep us content.
Yeah.
So,
I think, my bad. I think just with like Snapchat and text and all the technology, you're constantly talking to this person, especially in high school. You're always communicating. In some type of way, you're Snapchatting, you're texting, you're doing something.
That just reminded me of something.
And I found that even in my own life with girls, like you can end up emptying your life out to somebody emotionally in like a span of a week or 2 weeks, and it becomes this thing of like, I want to know everything about you. I want to be there I want to know all the scars you have, like all these things. Like it's supposed to be this thing that's going to bring them together, but like you barely know this person. They don't need to know everything about you yet.
Right.
Like what's wrong with just, I love God, that's all you need to know about me right now.
Let's just learn about each other.
Yeah, exactly. And because I've talked to a few girls in the past year or so, and there's some things I don't want to tell them about yet. We're not that close. We're not there yet.
Right.
Like, let's slow down emotionally. Let's slow down. Don't empty your whole life out to somebody. Everything you've done wrong in your life, everything you've done right in your life, in the first 2 weeks of knowing them.
Well, and here's the thing too, like going back to what you were saying about being friends first. Right. If you're friends first and you hang out around a person for at least a month or a few months, whatever it may be, you get to see who that person really is.
Yeah.
If you just talk to someone, they get to put on a performance of who they think they need to be to get with you.
And honestly, I like social media. I think it's great. I love doing it.
I haven't decided how I feel on it.
I really think that a lot of people are getting to know each other, or at least meeting. Like we don't really meet at the mall anymore. We're not like at the video store at Blockbuster meeting each other. We're not like out there, you know. We're online. It's kind of sad to think about actually, but rarely. I mean, I guess in high school you can meet them at school, but they don't even do that anymore. They're barely at school. Like you are kind of meeting people through Instagram and things. Yeah. So like make sure you like this person. That's why we're saying just be friends. Like what if they have a super sick Instagram profile and they look super hot on Instagram, but they have a weird accent? Or like or they just do some things in person that you don't really like, but you guys have been texting for like 2 weeks and telling each other how much you like each other, and then you actually hang out and you ended up not liking her, and then it becomes this huge thing of like, why don't you like me? You said you liked me for 2 weeks.
Let's start a term called spiritually catfished.
Right.
Where people get spiritually catfished because they buy into the facade of somebody who somebody is, but then they get completely catfished by somebody that's so spiritually broken.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I just want to, because I can see how people are starting to meet on social media, and it's sliding in the DMs or swiping up on their story, and it's okay, where are you from? And then it's like it gets to the point where a couple days have gone by and you've been going back and forth on Instagram. Now it's what's your Snap? Okay, so now we're on Snap now. Then we Snap for a week, and you're like,
probably some pictures we shouldn't.
Yeah, and she's like, dang, she's pretty hot. Here's my number.
Yeah.
And then we get to the number, right? And then it's like been three weeks, and it's like now she's getting like, when are we gonna actually like hang out in person? Like, when are we gonna do this for real? And it's like, okay, and then you build up the courage. It's been a month. You've been talking back and forth constantly. And now it's a month later, and it's time to hang out, and she doesn't like Mexican food. And you hate that. Like, what do you do then? Like, because you didn't hang out, like, you just... Yeah. That's
like a super, like, simplified version of what could happen.
Right. That's just on a practical level.
But don't you think, too, like, people feel more pressure than ever because of social media to be in, like, relationships that look good?
Absolutely. With a sick filter, and she's kidding.
I felt that.
And
I mean, because you already had peer pressure for forever. You already had peer pressure to be in a relationship. Right. Some people in certain cultures had social peer pressure to be in a relationship.
Sometimes I'm like, dang, how many more likes would I get if I had a girlfriend?
So it's like, that's definitely like a pressure that people feel.
Yeah.
Which, shameless plug for our message last week. I think that the way we get over pressure is by spending time alone with God. And so here's a good way to put it, is don't go into a romantic relationship without getting alone with God and getting God's permission.
Absolutely.
And I know that saying God's permission probably sounds weird, and we're like, I don't need God's permission. Like, whatever. Like, but
okay, he kind of made you.
But the Bible actually says that those who are Jesus followers are slaves to Jesus.
Right.
Like, so that means that we need
sound fun.
Yeah. That means that we need his permission in order to move.
Right.
So, not slaves. We have a great slave master who is a good father and loves us. Like,
can we get back to just get back to praying about it?
Yeah.
Beforehand.
Yeah. Can we get back to actually praying about it and not telling somebody we're going to pray for them?
How many teenagers have we had conversations with where they have told us they shouldn't be dating this person,
but it feels good.
But she's nice.
Yeah.
He's sweet.
Hey, and here's something too. Don't date potential in high school. If I hear another teenager say, like, literally, I'm looking at this person's life, and I love this other teenager that they want to date, and I think that this other teenager, I can see God's potential all over their life and how God could turn their life around for his good. But right now, they are not following Jesus.
Right.
And you do not need to be dating them based off of their potential.
But he's really sweet one-on-one.
Because
he's really nice to me. He just cussed someone out in the parking lot before youth.
Oh, man.
But he's really nice to me.
Yeah. It's just like, you know, one of the best points Lex said last year when we dual preached, my computer is going bananas with text messages. One of her points that she said in the not the Q&A, but our tag team preaching, is she said, ladies, if he doesn't respect his teachers in class, then why do you think he's going to respect you in the future?
Right.
I was like, that's so true. This is going. It's a group message. One of our friends, their baby just had brain surgery. So, yeah, pretty wild. Yeah, we've been praying a lot. She's doing good. But, yeah, I mean, why do you think he's going to respect you in the future if he can't respect a youth leader on a Wednesday night?
See how he treats his mom.
Yeah,
See how he treats
that's
his
another
sister.
thing she said.
Yeah.
It's like, if he can't, right now, you're getting spiritually catfished.
Right.
Because he's putting on a good show around you because, let's be honest, he wants to get in your pants. And then as soon as you aren't what he needs, he's going to treat you how he treats that teacher or that youth leader or that person he doesn't like.
Right.
Like,
A lot of times, whoever's in authority,
come on.
it's see how he treats those people.
This has been an hour-long podcast. I think we should probably.
Yeah, we should wrap this up. And service is about to start.
I think there's a lot of helpful information in here, though.
Yeah, it's actually probably going to be a lot to go through.
Yeah.
But I think it was good.
Hey, we'll see you on Wednesday night. I also wanted to, let's go ahead and film this because I'm going to put this in the beginning of the other podcast too. We're doing a giveaway right now. We're at 70 subscribers on YouTube. I said we're going to give away a pair of Air Force Ones if you screenshot and subscribe. We are going to do that, but I thought about it and I was like, if we only get one subscriber out of this and I have to give away a pair of Air Force Ones, it's so stupid.
Right.
So we're going to give away a pair of Air Force Ones once we get to 100 subscribers, and you have to screenshot you watching one of the episodes, put it in Instagram stories, tag us, and then I will keep record of who does that. And once we get to 100 subscribers, we will give away a pair of Air Force Ones. That's 30 subscribers. I know they're out there.
They're out there.
I mean,
they're out there
average
on the horizon.
We average 125 unique people at Youth a week through Sundays and Wednesdays. So I know they're out there.
They're there.
Yeah. So
they're coming.
Yeah.
You're marching, brother.
Let's not get spiritually catfished. I think that's the title of this podcast.
I've been spiritually catfished.
Love you guys.